is a type of trombone, and a dulcimer is a type of stringed instrument. So this is the sackbut, this is a picture of the dulcimer. We are going to be in the book of Daniel today, same book as last week, just different chapters. If you want to find it in your Bible there, I'll give you a second. 1 minute. So some information about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and their given names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were Hebrew eunuchs with Daniel in the land of Babylon. Their Jewish names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The king of Babylon changed these young men's names because he wanted to transform them into Babylonians. Originally, their names had the meanings of gift of the Lord, who is like God, and God has helped. Nebuchadnezzar changed them to the meanings of command of Aku, who is like Aku, and servant of Nebo. Aku was the Babylonian god of the moon, and Nebo was the Babylonian god of wisdom. Why does this matter? Nebuchadnezzar was trying to remove any memory of the living God to brainwash these Hebrew children into becoming full Babylonians, complete with an education in mathematics, astrology, history, alchemy, and magic. While we're reading, I want you to think about what your names mean. And are you a child of the king, or a child of whatever empire you are living in today? So we're going to be in Daniel chapter 2.
You said 3.
Well, most of it's going to be in chapter 3, but we're starting in Daniel chapter 2 towards the end of this. A couple of verses that says, "This is the dream." This is Daniel speaking. "And we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold." So Nebuchadnezzar, why did he build this golden statue that we're going to learn about in the next chapter? God gave King Nebuchadnezzar a dream in which he saw a statue, and the statue had a golden head, silver arms and chest, stomach and thighs of brass, legs and ankles of iron, and feet of clay. This dream scared Nebuchadnezzar until Daniel interpreted the meaning of it for him. Daniel told King Nebuchadnezzar that the golden head represented him and his Babylonian empire. Daniel said that he was golden because God blessed his empire, and no empire after him would be so great. King Nebuchadnezzar let this dream go to his head, literally, his golden head, and he decided to build a statue to remember it by. Wrong way. So now we're going to be in chapter 3, and we are going to read the entire chapter, because this is where we learn about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 1, "Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 70 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon." So this golden statue is 90 feet tall. And this is common in that era. If you think about the Sphinx in the Egyptian land and pyramids, they made huge statues. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall at the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace." Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans, which were Babylonians, came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever." So now they're sucking up to him. "Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon. Their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious. In his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. So I imagine here that King Nebuchadnezzar is anger off the inside out. He is lit up. They're not bowing down before my statue. How dare they? Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my God, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, I think it's kind of funny that they list the names of the instruments every single time. The sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image that I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of mine hands? Although Daniel had already been tempted and tried, these three Hebrew men were to experience their own personal trials. Would they follow the years of Babylonian teaching, bow to the statue, and save their lives? To bow to the image would violate God's law in Exodus that said, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. It would also erase their testimony for God forever. In the Babylonian Empire, there were hundreds of gods that were worshipped, yet these Hebrew men refused to worship them. But if they bowed to this statue even once, never again could they talk about the power of their God above all other gods. What would they decide? The response is found in the next verses. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wants to be heated. So he has told them, turn it up as high as it'll go. I don't care if it's not supposed to be that hot. I want it as hot as possible. They will pay. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. So not only are they being thrown into this super hot furnace, he also ties them up before he does it. Oh, I keep going the wrong way. Then these men were bound in their coats, in their hosen, and their hats, and other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flames of the fire slew the men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So there's guys that tie him up, they carry him over to the furnace, and they go 1, 2, 3, and toss him in. Those men died because it was so hot. Just getting anywhere close to it would have killed you because this furnace was so hot. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down into the midst of the fiery furnace. So everybody can see that they're tossed in, and they can see the outlines of their bodies in the midst of this fire. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men down into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. And they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like unto the Son of God.
How does it know what the Son of God looks like?
When you see it, you know. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace. So he got as close as he could without being burned himself. And spake and said to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was an hair on their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire passed on them. So they walk out of the furnace, and everybody gathers gathers around and they're looking at him. Their clothes aren't burnt. Their hair isn't black. They don't even smell like smoke. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and hath changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
So basically, that means they would cut them into pieces and then make their house where they put food.
Yep, exactly. So why did God use Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah? I'd rather use those names because the other names means that they worshipped false gods.
What does mine mean?
I don't know, you have to look it up. Nebuchadnezzar could change their name, their haircut, their clothing, and geological location, but he couldn't change their heart. When these Hebrew men were commanded to bow down to the statue and threatened with the hottest oven imaginable, they were not careful to answer in a politically correct manner. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah spoke the truth, not caring of the consequences. Their response to the king echoes of bravery. O king, we don't care if our words make you angry. We are not going to worship anything you build. We are not going to worship anything but the living God. Their faith was authentic. It was real. It came from their heart, and it was unchanging. What do you think their superpower was?
Authenticity.
Authenticism?
Authentication.
Close. A different form of that word.
True.
Authenticity. Authenticity. And how can you use the power of authenticity? In a world that is constantly changing, are you authentic? Do you stay true to your name as the child of the king? Every time you blink your eyes, technology is changing, evolution theories are changing, genetic theories are changing, family beliefs are changing. But if you're a child of the king, you can use your Bible to know the authentic truth. Some of those truths are, God created the world and everything in it. God created the human in his image with a body, soul, and spirit. God created the family with a husband, wife, and children. This is the authentic truth. When someone challenges the authentic truth, are you careful to answer so not to make them angry? Or is your response like the Hebrew men? Oh world, we don't care if our words make you angry. We are not going to believe just anything you say. We are not going to follow anything but the living God. Anyone or anything. Yep. Who are our superheroes today? Allegra?
Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Yep. Good job using their real names. What are their superpowers, Matthias?
Authenticity.
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 What is a sackbut, Allegra?
A trombone.
What is a dulcimer, Matthias?
A string instrument.
Stringed instrument. How did Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah use their superpowers? Allegra?
By not doing what Nebuchadnezzar told them to do.
By not changing their beliefs based on the world around them. And how can you use the superpower of authenticity?
By using the Bible only to figure out your questions.
Yep. Follow the truth